up? Ready for the podcast?
Let's go. Woo! We're live with Nick from Fullsend Organicks. We are here in this amazing pickup truck that he's refurbished. Give us a little detail of what this is. How did you even set all this awesome shit up, and what are you gonna do?
So, yeah, we are here today. floraFunga,
Woo!
Spotify, Fullsend Organicks Unhinged, and we're shooting on multiple platforms right now. The mobile mushroom lab / education center was definitely a unique feature.
Yes.
When it comes to advertising, and I love trucks, so we were able to find this one completely wrecked and redo the entire thing. And I thought about where marketing and advertising kind of is in today's times, and it's got to be really, really unique. It's got to stand out.
Yes.
So I wanted to make something, and I can honestly say, even today when I went to the grocery store,
Yeah.
the security guy that drives around in the golf cart literally came up and he's like, "Man, you went in the store and I saw the bright orange letters. I was looking it up, and I'm just now actually getting into this myself."
Oh, like mushrooms?
Yeah.
Or pickups?
Adaptions and mushrooms. Didn't really mention anything about pickups. He was just like, the do-it-yourselfer, work with your hands.
Yep.
Someone who really likes to be self-sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, man, this is what I do. If it's got to do with Mother Nature and mycology, I've got you covered.
Yeah.
We're going on 15 plus years now of doing the mycological stuff.
Okay.
And been online for about 6 years.
Okay.
On and off. Been banned too many times to count, but it's kind of one of those things, like Mother Nature never stops, and neither are we.
Right,
So,
absolutely.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so what have you kind of realized from kind of the starting point of this to now? Like what is kind of the feel of it, and what has kind of changed in those years?
The boom is here.
The boom! The boom on booms.
Yeah, the mushroom boom is here. Like I said, me and Flora were talking on the way here as we were kind of setting up, and I was like, yeah, when we first started out, I was doing stuff with 90 Second Mycology and Philly Golden Teacher and Boomer Shroomer, and that was kind of like the main 6 people that were on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then I would say probably within a year to a year and a half, you started seeing like positive vibes on the news.
Okay. Yeah.
More articles. The information was being brought out there and being brought to light, but in a good way. For once, functional mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms, it was all, okay, let's educate ourselves. Let's, break the stigmas of the past and really bring the potential to light. So I can say, like, it's a very washed out industry.
Okay.
And I only mean that in the way of, it's with YouTube and all the social media, pretty much anybody can go on there now and say,
I see what
I can
you mean.
do this.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can go to a grocery store and then on the way home stop at a pet store and get Uncle Ben's and a block of cocoa coir, which is basically like animal bedding.
Yeah.
And do your thing with that.
That's a good point.
It makes it accessible to everybody.
Yes.
So I really wanted to hit a very niche target audience and market where we can actually take products that start outside, provide multiple flushes inside, and then be put right back outside where everything started, to create a closed loop system.
Yeah.
And be as sustainable as possible. So I mean, I love to grow my own food.
Yeah.
I'm all about innovating. I think like that's a really big thing. We have to remember the past and remember, those men and women. I mean, literally starting back in the 1800s when, people started actually studying and understanding the potential. So it's out there, it's here. And I think the biggest thing moving forward from where I started years ago is community.
Okay. Yep.
Before it was like, this is new, we can see the pathway, we can see the potential. Here's where we think things are going. Everyone's going to have their own opinion. And so it became very individualized, like this person was going to focus on this tech, this one was going to do this tech, this one was only going to make substrates, this one, and so on and so forth. So it was kind of like everyone found their place.
Yeah.
Now it's everyone's doing everything.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's all out there. So yeah, it's going to be very, very community driven from here on out for sure.
Yeah.
Would you like me to take a picture of the two of you?
No, we're good right now.
Yeah.
We're recording. Thank you, though.
No, you're okay.
You're okay. Thank you for
Thank you.
asking. That's
Bye.
awesome.
That's one good thing about community is like,
Community.
you know, the truck itself is kind of already an eye catcher just because
It's huge.
it doesn't really fit in here.
Yeah.
But it also just like, it's a natural conversation starter, which, you know, it doesn't always lead to mushrooms. It doesn't
Yes.
always lead to anything like that.
Right.
It can lead to a friendship or a new connection, which builds into something else down the line. So that's one of the pluses.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you didn't see that, we were obviously at the beach right now and very in public. So this is a very different setup that I'm used to doing for my podcast. So this is really fun, kind of like getting out in the community like we were just talking about.
Yep.
So yeah, I think people are going to interrupt us, and that's kind of a fun topic too. Just like,
We'll bring
oh,
them
what are you
right
guys
in.
even doing here? And we're like, well, we're educating on mushrooms and just like building community within the mushroom space. And you made a really good point, like mushrooms are finally trending, and I feel like a lot of us got into this so many years ago. And like going to college, I went for plant biology. There was no mushroom studies whatsoever. It's soil, plants. And now there's tons of different things that people are trying to study at university itself. So it's just fun how I guess everything's been kind of brought into perspective recently. So we've been waiting all these years, just waiting to fruit, and now
Bring it out.
now we're finally out, and everybody's like, yeah, didn't you know the benefits of lion's mane? And I'm like, yes, I've been trying to teach people
Yeah, for years.
all this time the benefits and just how mushrooms are really underrated. And now, you know, even my mom is like, hey, have you seen the news on this like lion's mane thing? It's like, yeah, it is. It's true.
Yep.
It's true. Man, so you got from starting kind of in your own thing. I know you're saying even with the truck, like you got to stand out somehow. So what other things do you kind of do to stand out within Fullsend?
Well, I'd say I'm a very unique and weird person. So obviously, you know, building this in a retirement setting almost.
Okay, is that kind of where we are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Juno Beach and Palm Beach Gardens is, I would say, very retirement based.
Okay.
I was really lucky to even find a spot here. But being from Colorado, one of the things, and you know, I've made a few videos of it, but I've got the full cowboy gear, you know, boots,
Yes.
huge buckle, got my sheriff's badge,
Yes.
the big cowboy hat with the big brim. And I'll make a lot of videos like that. You know, for me, it's like, I'm not really concerned about what people think. You know, when I started out doing this, it was so underground
Yeah.
that like, I'm not going to let people over to my house. I really wasn't going to tell anyone what I was doing. And it didn't even matter that, you know, it was gourmet and functional, you know, regardless of what it is, because if you can do one, you can do them all.
That's what I like to say too.
And that's really the truth. But now it's like, I want to get out there, you know, I want to go like park the truck in the middle of the highway, shut the
Yeah.
highway down, even though we can't do that. But it's like, I just want to hold a sign up and say like, it's here. You know,
Yes.
the education is endless and the possibilities and potential are unlimited.
Yes.
So like, let it out. I mean, I was reading articles the other day, and you know, on the website, that's one of the cool things. It's like, it's everything all in one place, right? So if
Yeah.
it has to do with like liquid culture, spores, grow bags, substrates, mycology tools,
Yep.
everything is on there. But one of my favorite parts about the site is if you go on there and you click learn,
Okay.
or you use the search box to type in
Love that feature.
anything, you know, whatever you're looking for, a certain strain, how to do this, how to do that, there are literally unlimited resources on there. And something really, really cool, and I can't remember the name of the species, but there are actually a few fire retardant myceliums.
Yes. Yep.
And I'm thinking like fire suits, insulation
Yes.
in house, you
Yeah.
know, like being at the beach here, you know, in Colorado, there's no ocean. So like, we didn't really have to worry about oil spills or anything like that, but using spent oyster mushroom blocks,
Yep.
and you know, putting them out there, like they have the possibility to actually break down oil and help to clean up oil spills.
Yeah.
You know, first time I was here driving in Florida, I drove down the highway heading towards Miami, and you saw on the left side of the road or the highway, there are literally like 20-story tall just giant mounds of trash.
Oh my gosh.
And they're slowly getting covered in grass, but the first thing I thought of was mycelium.
Yep.
Oysters will eat the plastic. You know, lion's mane will really help with the rejuvenation of the soil.
Ooh.
And the longevity of, you know, continuing to break things down. It's just, it's endless. It's almost like you could sit here all day and talk about it, and you
Yes.
still wouldn't be done with the information.
Yeah, absolutely. Like infrastructure for houses even. I did a whole episode with somebody that is starting to build his own like house with reishi mycelium and like reishi mushroom
amazing.
itself. And so it's just like a whole thing where you can just, you know, make building blocks pretty much. And now you're just making houses. And it's like perfect. Like the packaging is soon going to be in that same type of foam format. Shoes, I think Adidas has paired up with some mushroom and is doing like the
Making
soles.
some shoes.
Yep. Obviously,
awesome.
I'm reaching out to them. Maybe they'll warm up to the idea of being on floraFunga podcast. So that could be future.
That's the one thing, you know, like we were on the Mycopreneur incubator
Yes.
together.
Yep.
And
Love that. Love that he does that.
That's a really, really helpful resource, but like all the things that we hear about on there too, you know, there's people sharing, you know, their different like pots that they were building and compressing out of mycelium. There's people that are making, you know, clothing and leather jackets and shoes, like
the hats.
everything. So, you know, the big thing is, I mean, I've even seen packaging supplies.
Yep.
So these kind of things will actually really help with the economy. These new and innovative ways are able to create jobs.
Yes.
It's able to bring, you know, new information. It's able to help businesses cut costs.
Right.
And obviously that'll go on as things get bigger, because you have to get to a certain scale before it actually starts making, you know, economic impact.
Right.
But I don't think it's something that will ever end. And that's probably my favorite part about it. I've worked so many different jobs, like I'm sure you have, and, you know, everyone that's watching has. And, you know, like you just go through these things, and it's so hard to find your passion. And the one thing about mycology is you can be on one thing, you can be struggling and just get sick of it and just want to, I'm done.
Yeah.
But then there is literally 100 other things that you can do and get into, and it literally reignites that spark again, and it's like, all right, I'm ready to go. Like total different mindset, new energy, ready to like, and
Reset,
it's constant. It's like nothing I've ever been a part of.
No, the mushroom community is amazing, and just kind of what you can do. I like to say that there's a mushroom out there for everyone. Like obviously people are like, hey, what would help with this? And it's like, nothing's gonna cure, but there's probably a mushroom out there that would be helpful for this, and this.
Yeah.
Even, you know, environmental factors and oil spills and stuff like that. So yeah, leave a comment below if you can think of another product that we didn't even mention, and you're like, actually, there's also tennis balls, like something random. Leave a comment.
I would love to learn, and it'd be something really cool to research too. That's
Yes.
a really great point.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said that you kind of bring these to random places. What is some of the coolest, or do you host like parties with this, and you're just like, cooler in the back, but let's learn about mushrooms here.
Right. So I've been to a few events in Boynton Beach, Riptide's Kava Bar.
Okay. Kava Bar.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, like, you know, the people there already have the mindset of, like, you know, holistic wellness. A lot of people have, you know, dealt with different things. Everybody's got their story. Life's not easy. But when you can get a big, you know, community together of, you know, the rockers, the rappers, the classics, you know, the hippies, the corporate people, like, you're off work, you know, take off the tie, ground yourself, and jump into the mycosphere, because like it's time, you know, like you got to get unhinged and let loose. Yes. Yeah, as I try to like bring everything back.
I like it.
But yeah, I mean, it's endless. I've met literally so many people from, you know, going to events, and this year I really hope to make it to Telluride. Yes. You know, like I was right there, and even when I was doing this, I really didn't even know about it. I was like 45 minutes away in Silverton.
Oh man.
And I had no idea. It's like right through the mountain pass.
Just through the mountain, over the mountain.
So
through the woods.
I try to attend as much as I can here. On the weekends, Saturday or Sunday, you can always find me here. I've got the laptop in the back. I'm getting the newsletter out.
Right here?
Yep, working on products.
Right here.
And that'll, you know, get people stopping by too. You know, do you have a business card? So usually I'll have the iPad out and People
just
can
working
scroll through
right
the store.
in the back in these
Yeah.
ridiculously comfy chairs.
Yep,
I love
literally
the
in
reel.
the chairs.
He made an awesome promo for this interview, and it just like got me so pumped. I feel like you're really good at, I don't know if it's like video editing or like you have all the cinematic feel to your posts, and I just like got so amped up from this. So you were talking about some of the features on this truck. What are some of those features that you can kind of
So
talk about?
the seats in the back
Okay.
folded up, and there is now refrigerated storage in the floors.
Nice.
I've got one side for liquid cultures, one side for spores.
Okay.
There is shelving that literally sits in the middle.
Cool.
And when we're at events, we can keep the doors open.
Yeah.
Pull those out, and it's got product display.
Oh, cool.
It's kind of hard because obviously the extreme temperatures here. It's
Yes.
drastically different from where I'm from.
Yeah.
But we make it work. You know, we can put a tent over here, you know, do whatever.
Boom.
It's got an air system on it. So if we need to like clean something, we need to refill something, pop a tire, you know, we're good to go.
We're good to go.
And then we've got multiple hookups for electronics. So actually in the back behind you there,
'Kay.
there's a huge 60-inch TV that goes. And
Okay.
that's where we post all of our Rumble videos and YouTube videos. So people can watch tutorials and, you know, do that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And it works. It gets people intrigued because they're like, well, you're using this grocery store supplies and you're able to like grow your own food. Like,
Yes.
I want to know more. Like, you can't help but not ask.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
yeah.
then I just go off.
Exactly. You're like, oh, and unleash the beast.
Yep.
I like it.
And people are just like, can you write that down? Like,
Yeah.
here's my card, hit me up. On Patreon, we offer one-on-one assistance.
Oh.
And there's everything on there.
Okay.
I really, really wanted to, you know, not only have innovative products, but be able to learn every technique and style, right? So like bag tech, monotub tech,
Yep.
Ben's tech, there's Orbeez tech.
Really?
Yeah. So instead of using perlite
Okay.
or a cool mister like what you have for reptiles,
Yeah.
you can actually hydrate Orbeez and put them in the bottom of the monotub,
Okay.
elevate your block, or you can do 360 fruiting, which is something that we came up with. So
Okay.
it makes the block go a little bit faster. I'll dive back to the Orbeez, but
'Kay.
the 360 fruiting is like taking an oven grate or some kind of like, you know, metal grate that fits inside of a 32 to 64 quart tub.
Okay.
You put your hardened substrate on there before it gets to fruiting,
Okay.
and you'll actually get fruits on the top, the bottom, the sides, everywhere.
Right.
And so obviously the food source is being eaten up faster,
Yep.
but you're just getting more for your time. So that's really fun to do. And then for grow bags, you know, I showed you before we were doing plastic bags, but the Orbeez really, really help to maintain the perfect humidity.
Interesting.
Yeah, it makes the environment just flourish, and it's fun.
Yeah, so what have you found with, you know, you said fruiting on the bottom, wouldn't that be weird, lanky type of results?
100%.
Oh, okay.
It always comes out weird.
Okay, so what do you recommend with that? You're like, it's just different.
Yeah.
It's the imperfect fruits.
So for me, I'm not big, I'm more on the potential, right?
Okay.
Like, I'll drive a jalopy if it gets me from point A to point B.
Okay.
You know, like, I don't really care. I'll drive it on 3 tires. Like,
Okay.
so as long as you get fruits, the looks of the fruit really have nothing to do with its potential. Obviously, if you were doing something like lion's mane or,
Yeah.
you know, some kind of functional mushroom, then you want the size and consistency
Gotcha,
because
yeah.
as it matures, that's where everything comes into play.
Right.
If you're just, you know, picking what kind of looks like, you know, little teeth,
Okay.
doesn't really do much because it hasn't matured enough. It's not forming.
Right.
But, you know, all the fun ones, let them go.
Yeah, I've been trying to coin this term mushroom wink
Mushroom
as
wink.
a hashtag, like, you know, we're talking about mushroom wink.
Hey, well, there you go. Mushroom wink.
It's the
Mushroom
first
wink.
debut of mushroom wink.
Yep.
So, boom, there we go.
You'll look it up. We'll pop up. You'll pop up.
Yes.
The whole industry will just pop.
Yes. So what is like the future with, you know, Fullsend Organicks?
Well, when I first started out, the main thing that I wanted to do was make enough money to move back to Colorado.
Okay.
This was the first step. That way I can have something to drive because we get like 30 feet of snow.
Yep.
And it's a very, very remote community.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be able to open up live, interactive, educational, and healing centers.
Oh, yes.
So kind of like a resort type thing.
Okay.
And, you know, I'm big on like if you have an idea and you stick with that idea, one way or another, eventually, like, it'll happen, right? Because like, you're manifesting it, thinking about it so much.
One would say manifesting.
It may be a little bit different than what you thought. How you get there may be a little different than you thought, but that's all part of life's adventure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it would be basically a place where, like, you know, you'd come, it'd be a small vacation. You're in beautiful scenery. Right now, we're actually working with a place that's out in the Bahamas called the Vante Retreats.
Okay.
And that just kind of re-energized the idea where, you know, you go there, you can stay for a week, you can stay for a month.
Yep.
And they work with ibogaine and psilocybin retreats.
Okay.
But going out there, you get access to Atlantis, which is like a beautiful, beautiful resort.
Yes.
Water slides, tons of outdoor activities. They have, you know, the jet ski rentals. So they've kind of taken the community that's already out there and added an adventurous side to something that for most people is really, really hard to go through. So I wanted a place where, you know, you could come, you could stay, and you'd have multiple choices. You can start literally from the bottom and, you know, complete your education and really learn about all the potential from, you know, the cubes to the functional to gourmet to everything in between. And then you could actually go on an experience, right? Because we've got Prop 122 out there, makes it legal.
Nice. Yep.
And they just started taking applications, I believe, like a month or two ago.
Okay.
Where you could actually sign up to be, you know, a documented, I guess, facilitator is what I'll call it.
Okay.
And
like recognized.
Yeah, you're just you're recognized by the state. Like, okay, you have your credentials, you know what you're doing. Here's the experience. You've created a safe environment for people to come and, you know, really, really dive in with nature and, you know, the potential.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool because it's different for everybody. You know, everyone's got their own stuff. They're all going to go through their own thing.
Yeah.
And the outcome is always different. So the one thing that I always say is listen to your gut, right?
Yep.
Because to me, all those liquid cultures and everything that I showed you, they're all a different door to a different potential.
Yes.
And everything that we do, anything that's holding us back, in my opinion, it's all from within. So
your own like insecurities or obstacles?
Or... like, I mean, everything. Like, you know, I deal with like anxiety in public, like, you know, those different things, mental illness. And, you know, that for me was just like trying pretty much everything until it worked. And that's really where I got the idea that every single one is a different door.
Yeah.
And so you just got to find the right one for you, because you can read reviews about, you know, one strain or lion's mane or, you know, lion's mane and chaga mixed. And I think for the energy and the potential of those, you know, immune support, rebuilding neurons in the head, you know, like that's going to be the same for everybody.
Yeah.
But, and that's good, because then, you know, that's consistency.
Right.
And that's something that I wanted to have within, you know, Daily Bliss, which is our multi-mushroom supplement.
Yes.
But then it comes down to, you know, you finding out, it's kind of like, you know, marijuana, right? It's everywhere now. You can go get your card, it's legal.
Yep.
The whole game has changed for that. But there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different strains, right? And like, once you find that one that really works for you, you stick with it.
Right.
And I think that's the big thing for me, is like, I stick with it, and then how can we push it? And that's really what like keeps my mind going, is like, if you mix this one with this one, and, you know, that's how we came up with strains like Golden Meanie, which one thing I really hope down the line is that more education gets out there and more people become aware of the potential. Because for years now we've been, you know, focusing on multiple strains where this one has this potential, this one has this potential. Let's put them together.
Yes.
And make a new strain.
Yep.
And do it solely for the purpose of its potential. You know, most people are like for looks, or they want to see the stipe, the gills, the cap, like how, you know, what's your humidity and the temperature. And I'm like, mushrooms are mushrooms.
Yeah, they want a fruit no matter what, but it kind of depends.
And we can't stop it. Did you see the agar videos that I was putting out on Instagram?
No, I have not.
That stuff was like fascinating to me.
Okay,
So
explain.
I had golden meanie, which is our blue meanie golden teacher
So
mix.
when you say golden meanie, you created
Yes.
that idea, or we
Yes.
as a mushroom community?
So Fullsend Organicks
Okay.
as a mushroom family
Yes.
spent years creating that strain.
Okay.
And I did it solely for the purposes of what I deal with every day, which is ADHD and bipolar. And I don't want to deal with big pharma. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even anything against them. I don't mess with politics at all. It's just not my style. But if I'm going to put something in my body and it has the potential to, like, you know, cause sexual issues, make me fat, cause acne, mess up.
bleeding.
Yeah, I mean, anything.
Seizures,
Yeah, anything, which I've dealt with that before. Like,
Wow. Okay.
you know, all of that. Like, I didn't want to deal with it. So, you know, that's why we came up with that. But I had an agar cup that was sitting in the lab.
Okay.
And I have so many agar cups. We actually started a giveaway today where I want to give all that stuff away, right? So like our last giveaway, I gave around 10-pound super bags, golden tickets, which are good for life. Like, you see a lot of companies, and I get community engagement and I get like how it can be staged, but I still want to believe no matter what, like, people are following you. They believe in something that you're doing. They can relate to it. They're finding comfort in it, whatever. And like, let's reward them. You know, a lot of people, like, dealing with the hurricanes, the fires, everything that Mother Nature's been throwing at us, you know, the end of last year, beginning of this year, like, people could just use a break. So
absolutely.
if we can, you know, get some advertising out of it, they share it on their social media platform, we'll send them the stuff, help them out. That's just community. Like, where I'm from in Colorado, you know, we have one cop, and they literally park the car at the front of the town, and they put a blow-up doll, kid you not, in the driver's seat, because there's no crime. Like, there's no need. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But, you know, everyone knows everybody. Like,
that's cool.
Outside of the gas station / dentist / grocery store, they have, you know, poppies growing out there. You know, like, they have a doctor's appointment, they put a note on the door, and it's like, you know, at such and such's place, be back after my teeth are cleaned. Like, I love that.
I love that
like,
feel.
We're in a massive town, right? It's millions and millions of people that live here. So we can't connect them all, but if we can put little bits and pieces out there, that's all it takes. It's just this person, word of mouth, this person. And so, like, I always dive into way too many things at once.
That's my biggest flaw too.
It's the ADHD. Like, I want that constant stimulation.
Okay,
so
I'm not alone.
Trying to slow it down, trying to make it more manageable. And so I actually just started a monthly meetup. It's on LinkedIn. It's on, you know, all the social media platforms. Follow that I'm on. And free sign up, but we meet once a month actually at the park here in Juno Beach, and just talk potential, talk cultivation. Talk, like, you know, if you have questions about it or whatever, it's a great place. Because still to this day, even though I utilize AI now so much, just because we're so small, it's super helpful, helps me stay organized, create images from it. But I still want to provide that personal touch. If I'm learning something from someone, like, you know, like, I met you for the first time today, you got out of the car, like, gave you a hug. Like, I want to shake someone's hand, and, like, I'm not even trying to feel them out or anything. It's just like, hey, you're another person. You know, like, we're about to sit down for a couple hours, have a chat, or, you know, whatever. It just feels better. It's like, I want to know the person that's teaching me this stuff. And that's one thing that when I was on the Mycopreneur podcast a few weeks ago, that, you know, he had asked me, and he was like, well, you know, how do you still provide that personal touch but utilize AI? Because there's multiple companies now that are faceless. There's faceless YouTube channels, faceless media.
That's so crazy to me.
And so it's like, well, you're sending these things out, you know, if you're in, you know, either a study state, I call it, where they're for microscopy and taxonomy, you know, study purposes only, or if you're in a legalized state, either way, you want to have some kind of contact, number one, for customer service, but number two, if anything happens, right? So you can create these huge businesses where, you know, it's great stuff, great products. And I don't know any off the top of my, you know, hat, but what happens when something happens, right? I don't want to go talk to a bot. Like, we already deal with that. We're on
talk to a representative.
And it's like nothing. It's just a computer. So, you know, we're already on Instagram, Facebook. You're never going to talk to a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, you know, it's great to have the communities, but
that's you.
it doesn't help at all if there's an issue or like if your account gets pulled, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I remember even on YouTube, we won every single appeal.
Good.
And I documented all of it. And they still took down the channel, right? So when it comes time to like, hey, this happened, that happened.
Right.
You just never hear back. It's
No,
like,
yeah, and then you have to explain it to each new person that also like you come in contact with. It's like, I just spent like 30 minutes explaining, okay, got it.
And you know, as a content creator, like, you know, we don't all spend hundreds and hundreds of hours on our videos, but any time that we put in is going to be important no matter what the quality of anything is. And so like when that gets taken away, it's like, why?
I know, I spent so much time like doing it, then editing, then putting it together, making sure.
So
yes,
back up your stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Like Kevin says, 3 locations.
Yeah, you gotta keep it, because like I think the fight is only going to get harder.
I think so too.
For the little guy.
Yeah.
But,
and mushroom space, I think more people, you know, now there's going to be more regulation, which is like good, but now also bad.
Yeah. Well, just now that it's out there and it's becoming, you know, legal, like think about it with mushroom coffee.
Oh my god.
Mushroom gummies and, you know, this and that. Yeah, vapes, which we're working on.
Yes, I've heard.
I think it's probably going to take another year or so. You can definitely try the prototype today. But yeah, that's going to be something that's cool too. And a lot of people are using like, you know, I think it's called 4-HCO or it's a synthetic. It's kind of like, you know, DMT. And that's something that has a lot of potential too. But I think my biggest thing is like coming from that history of, you know, literally starting at 5 on all these medications and stuff. I've seen what synthetic stuff can do. I felt it. I've experienced it. Like,
what does that feel like?
It's not fun. You know, literally before, so when I was on lithium and amantadine and imidazole, they had me on 7 medications and a patch. But being on that lithium alone, all of that stuff takes away your personality, but it also kills your liver. It damages your thyroid, right? And so luckily there's mushrooms to repair that, so there's a mushroom for that. That's a plus. But it takes years for your body to kick back to a natural state where it's like everything is functioning, everything is processing.
Yeah, true.
And so, you know, I'm never going to give out medical advice. You know, everything is always just, you know, hey, this does this.
Yeah,
for
your
education.
Own experience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you just got to have your own journey and, you know, dive in. But yeah, I definitely want to stick to the natural route. I'm huge on nothing but nature. Yep.
Yeah, no, thank you for speaking out about that. And mental health is such a big thing right now. And obviously so many people, even, you know, my mom or older people are even asking about the lion's mane aspect or the lion's mane coffee or a mushroom coffee, just because, you know, people are really caring about their health, and I think we're finally getting back into more of the natural route, or like combining, you know, pharmaceuticals with natural, because you can't just always like hear something. But yeah, so it is nice that there's something out there for everybody, and new people are starting to get on the bandwagon of mushrooms itself.
Yeah, and what's good is there's so many different ways to take it.
That's a good point too.
Gummies, coffee, you know, like people already have these habits of, where's my morning brew?
Exactly.
Or, you know, it's the end of the day, like let me get a gummy, you know, like there's all
your
these
drinks.
Yeah, there's all these different things. There's literally a mushroom for that now. Like where there's a will, there's a way.
And a form.
And that's one of the biggest things that I hope that more people will bring light to. Because, you know, coming from an entrepreneurial background, there is the people that are huge investors where, you know, they're in, hey, here's a couple mil, I'm in it for 6 months, then I need my money and I'm on to the next venture. And that's literally like the business pathway for them. And there's multiple different ones, but when you start doing this, when I started, you know, getting into Daily Bliss, and I was like, okay, well, let's scale up this operation, which, by the way, super excited. GetDailyBliss.com.
Yes, I was going to ask you about it.
It is on the way.
Yes. Have you had your Daily Bliss yet?
Yes. All the potential without the trip. That is the best way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask more about, like, what was the making of Daily Bliss like? Why did you end up making it, and what's in it?
So I wanted to make it because a lot of the people that are in my family tree deal with mental illness.
Okay.
So it's a common trait.
Yes.
And most of those people are a lot older than me, and they grew up in that era of zero education when it comes to mushrooms at all.
Yes.
So, besides what they were seeing at the grocery store,
Right.
everything else was scary.
Yeah, or the canned ones people use too.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah,
Ugh.
that's why a lot of people don't like mushrooms, is because they grew up having the slimy
We
canned
talking like
mushrooms.
Campbell's over here, or
like canned sliced mushrooms that people put on pizza.
I'm picturing like an MRE, 40 years old, and I open this up and it's just like, no. But yeah, it's like all everyone would see is that's on the grocery store shelf.
Yep,
So they
yep.
knew like it was just, probably shiitake and, something that looks like a yard mushroom.
Yes.
And
yep.
that was it.
An agaricus white type of
Yeah,
whatever.
a button mushroom.
White button.
And now it's everywhere. I went to Trader Joe's the other day.
Oh, Trader Joe's is the best.
Love it. Love it. I mean, it's good prices.
Yeah.
I'm super cheap,
Yep.
Jewish.
I'm frugal.
So if it has a coupon,
Yes.
I'm there. And they had oysters in there.
Jewish.
Yeah, they had king oysters.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm all about those coupons.
I love it.
I'm living the entrepreneur life, so I gotta save that money. Yeah, little Dicky. So yeah, I gotta save where you can and push on, but that
Yes.
allows me to like get into all the innovative techniques and everything that I'm doing now. So going back to it, it's like, I know,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's beautiful out today. But yeah, like going back to Daily Bliss
Yes.
and people in my family dealing with mental illness, it's like they were afraid of the lack of knowledge. That's really what it is. And so I wanted to create something that we had all the benefits of functional mushrooms,
Cool.
but you could still have the benefits without going on a trip.
Yes.
Right? And that's the biggest fear. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, just, into mycology in general.
Right.
And I can still say to this day that when I'm, in my week of prep, before I go through this experience myself, which, I prefer to do. I love like the navigation, but it still gets me every single time. And I think that's good because, deep down, I always respect the medicine.
Yeah. You gotta.
But I understand how intense that is, and I understand like what it takes. And then, even after with, self-integration,
Yes.
which I totally recommend. It's just listen to that gut. Like,
Yes. Good advice.
but take it easy. Never, ever make any drastic decisions. Like, listen to your gut, take it easy, go with the flow, and do your thing. But that's where Daily Bliss came in.
Okay.
So we came up with a process that is kind of like blue juice, but basically we can actually go through an extraction process and crystallize the active ingredients to be able to make a supplement that, number one, doesn't pop, and number two, you can see on all the reviews and hundreds of customer stories on the site, like, they're able to go pick up their kids.
Yeah.
They're able to not have anxiety, like, and it just all comes, everyone's been through so many changes, like governmental changes, economy changes, like, there's just been so many very, very fast up and downs that we're all moving 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So if there's a way for me to provide the potential, unlimited benefits, and get all of that by making something that we really hope to like get into GNC one day.
There you go.
Why are we not going to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
make it accessible.
yeah, so we're doing that. There's different chocolates. Like I said, I actually took the raw ingredients, which once we're done making it, it literally looks like a gel.
Okay.
And the best way I can explain it is like, if you were playing with like silly putty as a kid, I love that stuff, makes the fart noises, and that is literally the consistency
Interesting.
of the process at the end. And I looked at it, and I saw again on Dennis's podcast.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Mycopreneur.
Yes.
And they were bringing up all of these different vapes and like, well, it's synthetic and it's this and that, and like the first thing that I hear when I hear synthetic anything, I'm at the gas station checkout,
Yeah.
and there's all of those, like, you know, oh, there's a pill for this, there's a pill for that. Like, I don't want to deal with that. Like, you know, I'm sure many of us went down that path when, like, we were in high school and experimenting, and we were broke and didn't have, you know, the resources or the knowledge to, you know, do it all of ourselves. Like, it's just nasty stuff. Like, I feel like once mankind gets a hold of it with something along these lines, it just kind of goes downhill, because we're trying to modify and mass produce something that doesn't need any modifications. It doesn't need any mass production. So Daily Bliss is literally 6 mushrooms, no additives, no fillers, nothing but nature. It's in a gel capsule. It is 00, largest on the market, and subscriptions are coming. There are multiple different levels. It is a staple in my everyday life. It's being utilized in breathwork classes and yoga studios down here, so I really hope that will be able to get pushed and grow as time goes on.
So you were saying that the end result's kind of like a gel. So inside, I haven't actually opened one of these, but is it like a powder inside, or is it actually like a gel inside of a gel?
Once everything's done, it goes and we crystallize it.
Oh, okay. That's
which is really cool. I actually made a post, and I don't know if it was the camera, if there was a smudge on the camera, but it was my first time seeing it, right? So we have a 400x electric microscope, which is like, we're going to Osmosis Jones level. Like, you remember that cartoon? I don't know if you ever saw the Disney movie Osmosis Jones. It was super informative. I was just
talking to somebody about it, and I didn't know it's with Will Smith.
Yeah, Will Smith. I think he was the main character.
Because I was like, why have I never seen this? But somebody else was talking about it, and we had to look it up. And I was like, now I need to know.
I used to love those shows, and we got like almost that like molecular level where we're looking at such small particles, but every single particle literally looked like a little tiny, like, microscopic mushroom. So underneath this microscope, looking at this extraction process, there was literally like thousands of little tiny white mushrooms. But that's what it looked like. It really wasn't that.
And that's a post on that you have?
Yeah,
cool,
I put it on, I think it was Fullsend Organicks 2.0.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it was like one of the coolest things ever. And when I was looking at the raw ingredients, and all these people were talking about vapes, that consistency, I had an empty vape cartridge. I pulled the top off, just threw it in there, because I know, like, it's nothing but, you know, basically like natural oils, like almost like what's it called? It's like coconut oil, you know, cooking oil. And then the mushrooms at the end piece, you know, before like things get freeze dried and crystallized, and you know, the end product. But so I put it in this vape cartridge, didn't have to like adjust the heat or anything. Took a few hits, and it was almost like instant.
Okay, that makes sense.
The biggest problem for us is it's really hard to make.
Okay.
So to make, like, you know, for vapes, you need a massive amount of juice. You need like, it's not ready to be scaled up yet. And it's honestly something that is almost like a waste product that I was getting ready to throw out.
Interesting.
And so, but that's like where it comes in. It's like
innovative.
Yeah, keep your mind going. Like, that's a huge thing for me, because like with ADHD especially, it's very hard to plan things out. And so mycology, Mother Nature, like always throwing different angles at you. You know, you got a grow bag over here, you got agar over here. So it's just happening. Like, it's ever changing. It's nonstop, which works really good for me, because I'm always in full send mode.
Yes, absolutely. That's where you got your name, right?
Yep.
Or what?
No, that's literally where I got it.
Full sending.
Well, I love like the organic pathway.
Okay.
Name's Nick.
Yep.
It was kind of already in there, so I added the K, and then I'm one of those people who's always had to like learn the hard way. And it's just because it's not like I could take advice, but I still want to learn. Like, I want to find out for myself, right? Like, when you do something yourself, like you grow mushrooms yourself or whatever, like, to have that end result, no matter what it is. You know, you're a kid, you learn how to ride a bike.
Right.
It feels good. It's self-motivating.
Yes.
And I think that's like a huge thing. Is like, you can do all these little simple tasks.
Right.
And it's so self-motivating that like it just reassures you and like re-energizes you to want to try more.
I like that.
That's another thing about mycology, is like it's endless. There's another thing that just keeps you going and reignites that spark.
Absolutely, yeah. If you want to like discover something and get your name on something and get your mushroom named after yourself, this is probably that avenue to get.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's one really fun thing that, like, you know, going back to Patreon, we will literally show everything on there, right? There's
Okay.
people from all over. So you'll have the people that they've obviously seen it on social media. They're hearing about it in the news.
Yeah.
They want to learn more.
Yep.
It's a great resource to do that. It's a great resource to connect. But we can also teach you every single way to do it, you know, up to genetic modification. I have a new video that I'm working on now where we're going to show the extraction process.
Cool.
So we'll show you how to make blue juice,
Okay.
tinctures, teas,
Yeah.
you know, everything.
Yeah. Back to what's the name that you kind of patent here that you've come up with?
The mycopunch,
Oh, what's that?
our
But no,
automatic
the-
tissue biopsy tool.
Oh, no, but now I need to hear about.
Well, we got to know the name. What was the name?
Of your
Now I'm curious.
of the mushroom that
Oh, golden meanie.
meanie.
Yes.
Can you spell that?
MEANIE.
Oh, okay, got
So
it.
it's like
got it.
it's blue meanie
Yes.
and golden teacher.
Okay, so how did you come up with that combination? Just because you were like feeling it out and you're like, which one is...
Everybody knows golden teacher.
Yes.
It is the most wholesome, probably beneficial. That's why it's so famous,
Yeah.
right? Like the crazy thing is to find an original strain now is almost gone.
Is that kind of like cannabis, where it's like
Yeah.
there's so many hybrids of stuff?
And I mean, what makes it worse is like, remember, you know, at the beginning of this, we said like everybody and their brother really can do it.
Yeah, true.
The problem is the upkeep. So, you know, those liquid culture jars that I showed you,
Yeah.
you know, at like the little at-home setup, those are like having 20 kids. Like you have to mix those every day.
Wow.
Every 2 months, I have to regrow everything out.
Okay.
And, you know, you could just take the liquid culture syringe, squirt it into a new nutrient solution, but then you end up getting, you know, metabolites and things just end up getting, you know, they morph into something else. You start getting mutations, the consistency goes away. So it's better to do it fresh, right? So
Okay, yeah.
every month I do it fresh. We have another Instagram account that's, I think, monotub mushroom something.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many accounts. Like, but
How
they're
do you
all
keep up with all this?
honestly, it goes off of Mother Nature, right? So like,
Nice.
I have a main account, a gourmet account. The mycopunch has its own account.
Okay, yeah, back
and
to
it's because like
that,
it's
too.
specific for that product. But every 2 months when we go through this,
Got it.
there's so many companies out there. Number one, it's good to keep original strains, right? We don't want them to go away.
Yep.
Some of them are so important. And the biggest thing is there are so many active mushrooms that look exactly the same.
Right.
Like, unless you understand by a spore print
Yeah.
or how the gills look,
Yep.
you're never going to know.
Yes.
And you don't really have to know, but like, it's nice to know. You know, hey, this is what I researched.
Yes.
This is what I think is going to help me. I want the real thing, you know, like I don't want to go to the dealership and buy this truck and there ends up being like a 4-cylinder engine out of a Saturn in here and like it has golf cart seats in it.
Yeah, true.
Like,
Doesn't match.
you know, that's the total mentality of the car dealership, but I don't want that. I don't want to deal with that. So yeah, I mean, consistency is key, but having all those to be able to choose from and then providing all of the research on them
Yeah.
and then starting from here and actually showing the viability process that we go from, you know, A to Z,
Yep.
that reinsures all of our, you know, members and customers
Yeah.
and anybody who hasn't
You
been
get
with
to
us
see-
before, like, you're actually getting what you're supposed to
Yes.
get because you've seen us.
Yep.
And then we do a giveaway and give away all the agar because what am
Cool.
I going to do with 350 different plates?
Oh,
like,
yeah. There's
you- like,
enough room
you-
for that.
Yeah, you saw my whole entire countertop, right? I'm not
did.
prepping food in there. Like,
Yeah.
it was literally all agar
Oh,
and
yeah.
testing.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, what
So,
kitchen?
yeah. So I mean, it's constant. The house has literally become the business, which I hope is the last stage before like you can move to a giant warehouse.
There
or,
you go.
You know, something else happens.
There you go.
But yeah, the mycopunch.
Yeah. Yeah. Myco Punch. That sounds like a drink.
So patent pending.
Okay.
Trademarked it,
Okay. Ooh.
and we also have mycopunch.net,
Okay.
which we have
Follow.
tied to Fullsend Organicks, because that's one thing that I'm big on. Is I try really, really hard not to do any third-party anything.
Yeah.
And I want to work with people and I want to do it. I'm actually working on something with the Mycopreneur right now and his new Myco Day bar, which
Yes.
is freaking
I
delicious.
still have to try one of those.
Me too. I'm dying. And I really want one of those microdosing t-shirts.
Yes. Yes.
So that would be nice because I would rock
Yes.
that all day.
I rocked mine yesterday.
Caesar.
It goes live
would love it.
tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's exciting.
So yeah, those, hoping to do a deal with that. But I just noticed from like working in, I've done the toilet cleaning, I've done the manager, like worked in a bowling alley,
Wow.
everything. And it's really just trying to find your pathway. Everybody goes through it.
Right.
But, it's led to a lot of really, really cool things. And one of those is the myco punch.
Okay.
The biggest time when contamination happens, no matter what skill level that you're at, no matter how long you've been doing it, is during the transfer process of any kind.
Yes.
Right? So that's why we
Heard.
came up with all of these, basically like products that do the work for you is
okay.
what I lead with all the time, because they really do.
Yeah.
For the bags, you can keep them on your countertop. Like, they require nothing. Inject it with your favorite solution.
Yep.
And let it do its thing. Break and shake, optional.
Yes.
But then I started getting into agar, and that to me is like an art form. To watch, the mycelium grow out.
So pretty sometimes.
Yeah, it is. It's like, it's beautiful. And to think like that's going on underneath our feet,
I know.
and then a few more layers down right now, like, it's so intertwined that it's not even funny.
Right.
But agar started a whole new thing for me, and I saw at the very beginning that people can use X-Acto knives. They're using kitchen knives. I've seen forks. Like,
Oh yeah.
as long as you can, if it's clean, you can sterilize it.
Yeah,
Use
yeah.
it. Who cares?
Yep.
So that's why I wanted to come out with something. I was like, I've got this.
Yeah.
And it was actually 90-second Mycology who hit me up and it said, dude, look at these ideas that people are coming out. And all of a sudden, like, the light went off. I was like looking at all these things and I was
Yes.
like, all right, well, what can we build that's under an ounce in weight
Okay.
to keep the shipping down
Yes.
and the cost of goods
Smart.
down? And what can we have that's going to be like super, super reliable, but make it really easy? And that's where the Myco Punch came out.
Okay.
So it is an automatic tissue biopsy tool that literally in under 30 seconds, you can sample mushroom tissue, agar, you can take plant matter, anything. And you can do agar to grain, agar to agar, which that's when you get like those beautiful patterns that we see,
Okay.
rhizomorphic growth.
Yes.
You can do agar to grain, and the options are really endless for it. I actually made a video the other day where I punched the blade out at the end, which is stainless steel. The whole
Okay.
thing is made of stainless steel and anodized aluminum. And it also has a lifetime warranty on it, which I don't think there's any other tools out there that have a lifetime warranty.
Huh. Yeah. So the tool looks like what?
So basically, like, where I got the idea is, I know, we all remember when we were in school, those erasers that were in the shape of a pen, but it
Yes.
was retractable.
Yeah.
So like, as the eraser went down, you could push more of it out.
Yes.
That's where I got the idea from.
Ah. Okay.
So the housing started out as an old laser pointer,
Okay.
because it's the same size,
Yep.
it has that button on it, right? And then the inside is literally just like heavy duty springs from a pen.
Yep.
And that's how the mechanics work. So
Wow.
there's like maybe 8 or 9 pieces inside.
Okay.
And that's why it has a lifetime warranty on it, because, we can take it apart,
Yeah.
we can fix it,
Oh, love that.
and then just send it back to you, and you're good to go.
Cool.
And with what it's made out of, it should last forever.
And so how does it become like sterilized? Is there like a heating mechanism in there?
Nope.
Or
So
is it just
what the blade is actually made out of,
okay?
and I've shown this live hundreds of times
Okay.
now, so like, it's a real thing.
It's real.
One alcohol wipe,
Yep.
wipe the blade off and get to punching.
Okay.
I will say that most of the time I will actually punch an empty agar plate first, almost to like get it lubed up and
Yeah,
ready
yeah.
to rock, for its myco adventures.
I love it.
And yeah, then you can go from there. But like, yeah, I was saying, like, we took literally the blade, scooped up some spores, and
Love
did
it.
spores to agar with it. So
Wow.
it's multi-purpose.
Love it.
And speaking of multi-purpose, another really cool product, if you don't mind,
Please.
I was going to tell you about it because I think it's something
Plug
that you and your partner would really like if you guys are into growing. So for any kind of mushroom, we have the BRF multi-purpose super bag.
Okay.
And
Super bag.
super bag. Got to come up with your own names.
Oh.
Keep it organics.
Yes.
And so the BRF is freaking awesome, and this will tie into agar.
Okay.
You can inoculate it with anything that you want,
Okay.
and it has a BRF core surrounded by BRF, vermiculum, and gypsum. Most of the time with BRF, you have to add a nutrient source because it doesn't have enough. And the bag can actually be, so 1 3-pound bag can actually be utilized to knock up a couple hundred bags of Uncle Ben's.
Okay.
Or you can knock
up?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to knock it up.
I love this guy.
So yeah, you can knock up a couple hundred bags of Ben's, or you can do multiple spawn bags.
Okay.
And the really cool thing, and you can also do this with our grain-free shipmasters, you can actually take a little piece of the substrate and put it on the agar. And from that substrate, it will grow onto the agar.
Yeah.
So not only do you have the ability to make one turn into a ton, the bag's biodegradable, and it has multi-uses.
Wow.
So, endless.
Endless. You are innovative.
Gotta
All
be.
from Daily Bliss.
Gotta
really.
be in this industry.
Fueled by Daily Bliss.
For real, though.
I still want to ask you if we covered your technique of CH3 or CH4. What was the...
So the CH3, I mean...
Do you want to explain that, or is that not a thing that you
Part of the process is proprietary. It's not really something that I want to give away.
Perfect.
But it basically is starting out from active mushrooms. It goes through the breakdown, triple alcohol extraction.
Okay.
And then from there, it's processed to be able to remove any hint or trace of the alcohol.
Okay, so that's...
Because a lot of people that take it, they don't want any of that.
Right.
And even residual effects can cause relapse or cause other problems, which I don't ever want to do to anybody.
Right.
From there, it gets freeze-dried, and then it goes through its final processes to end up in a powder form and into the capsule, which is all done by a machine.
Okay, cool.
So I'll grow the mushrooms, we grow the mushrooms, and then from there it's goes on to Reza and a few other people that are helping me out.
Nice. Yeah, it seems like you have a really good community with organics and Fullsend in general. Like, you have a good good space. You got a lot of people supporting you.
I've been really lucky that, you know, when we started out on YouTube and we started doing lives, people just found connection to the story. You know, like, I'm so open about mental health because I feel like if it's something that you're going to deal with until the day that you die, then you should be comfortable talking about it. Like, it's not going to go away.
Right.
And there's millions and millions of people who deal with it too.
So many.
But it's not anything that, you know, like, I never take judgment by it. I don't take it personal. If anything, the stigmas, I can actually utilize Fullsend to prove all of them wrong.
Yeah.
Boom. You know, one thing that, like, just fueled me when I was younger, and but you have to, like, you know, you go to, like, the monthly thing, hey, how's the meds doing, how you doing, you know, blah 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 blah. But they would always ask, like, what do you want to do when you get older? And I was like, I want to do this, I want to do that, right? Because my dad's an entrepreneur.
Okay.
He started his own company. My sister owns her own marketing business, and so I literally told him, I was like, you know, I want to be able to run a company. I want to be able to, you know, do this. I want to be like an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And literally told by a medical professional, like, I'll tell you right now, and this is, like, you know, the gist of it, but, like, you probably won't ever be able to do that having what you have.
Really?
And of course, then I go down the pathway of, like, well, let me see the research that, you know, proves this. And honestly, until I moved into a bigger state, I'd never met anyone else that dealt with bipolar.
Right.
But everything that I'm doing and have done in the past has proved all those stigmas wrong.
Yeah.
And the consistency of Fullsend, suck it. But the consistency of Fullsend and everything that we do, like, it proves them all wrong. So,
absolutely. I feel like that just pushes you to want to prove them wrong more.
Yeah. And at first, I would say it definitely started out as, like, you know, well, hey, like, you know, you can't tell me, like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Right.
And that's not really, like, that was my younger mindset. Now it's like, well, not only did I prove you wrong, it feels great. I'm showing other people that anything you put your mind to, you can do. Like, life always finds a way. But it's just, you know, being strict with yourself, and I think, like, diet, exercise, and consistency.
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank you for mentioning that.
Huge.
Huge.
And I still, like, didn't understand that, but, you know, having animals is huge.
Yeah, actually.
They have to have that constant, like, you know, you don't want them peeing in your house. Like, I'm scratching at the door. All right, well, let's go, you know, go for a run. Let's go to the park, whatever. So you're active even if, you know, I'm not a big gym rat. Like, I'll go for a bike ride, but I'm trying to like see some good scenery, you know? Like,
Yeah, okay.
I don't want to go ride around your neighborhood and, you know.
Yeah, right. That's
So-
not worth it. I got you.
Yeah.
Huh. So how did you go from taking all of these prescriptions to kind of going solely on Daily Bliss? Like, how did you kind of make that change?
Well, it didn't start out with Daily Bliss. Daily Bliss is really recent.
Yeah.
But it started out when I was about 15.
Okay.
One of my friends had magic mushrooms.
Okay.
We were in the woods of Colorado, you know, having a campfire, working in a pizza kitchen.
Yeah.
Got off work, went out there, did our thing. And what I didn't know was actually called integration,
Yeah.
which is really just yourself unlocking things within yourself. Can you hit okay on that really quick? And that really opened up so many doors to holy smokes. And so obviously you can't cut back cold turkey. I wasn't going to tell anybody else anything because
Yeah,
you know,
don't tell your doctors.
Yeah,
Just
like-
wait till they're like, what have you been doing?
yeah. And so when you slowly stop making appointments and things get less consistent with them, that's when it starts. But honestly, it was the side effects that got me done. Like if I'm on these things, and it's not even anything that like I was dealing with, I would say, you know, mentally, it was almost physically, where I'm taking these things and you're telling me that every 2 weeks I have to go to the doctor to get my blood work done to make sure that what's supposed to be helping me and stabilizing me is actually potentially killing me. So yeah, every 2 weeks when you have to go get blood work to make sure that your liver is not failing and your thyroid is still doing what it's supposed to, I'm out.
Yeah, that's right. I guess I have to do that every 3 months with my autoimmune disease.
So it's like
money. Then it's like, I know I'm good blood work, and it's like
and even that, it's like, you know, it's a financial thing too.
It's so expensive.
It's really, I'm not gonna. It's not that it's unneeded, right? Like we have to be open. Don't ever like hide yourself or like hide things. You know, if you're in that professional setting and you're already in that routine, like it's honestly good to talk about it because, you know, I still go every 3 months. I would say, just because like that's the rules here in Florida.
Yep.
That, you know, when I do go, it is.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm open with it about my doctor, and you know, unfortunately, like he went to a new office, but even he told me he goes to Chile every 6 months because he's like, I need that reset.
Okay.
Even as a doctor, and so he goes on his
especially
experience.
as a doctor.
Yeah, especially as a doctor. So you know, he does his thing. He was open about it there.
Cool.
He actually brought a ton of business in, which was really nice.
Fun.
For me, the main reason why I moved to Florida was there is already not a lot of opportunity in a town of 400 people. But Florida always seemed like, you know, a big place where like entrepreneurs are and retirees.
Oh yeah.
So I luckily got into the industry right when like the boom was coming.
Yeah.
And now, you know, you're able to talk to so many people they're from that era where like they were a hippie. They had long hair, like they did the marches, like they were all about it. And I'm totally cool with that. But they understand the experience. Right now, things are getting way stronger. There's so much more education. And just like mental health is slowly getting there, it's acceptable to have a conversation about it.
Right.
It's not so in the dark now. And so like, it feels great to like, you know, be out. I can talk about mental health. I can talk about, you know, all of these psychedelic mushrooms. All of these, you know, psychoactive effects. And, you know, it's not legal in all states, but it's now acceptable, and people want to learn more.
Yeah, I think people are very interested in what mushrooms have to offer. What do you think Florida looks like with the mushroom space in the future here?
Well, we're in the Bible Belt. And so, in my opinion, first and foremost, the entrepreneurial pathway in business in general is always going to work faster than government.
Yep.
And that's just the way that it is. So we all have to keep doing our part. It doesn't matter if you're a big business or a small business. Every single time that you make a post, you are contributing, right? You're sharing your passion and allowing someone with a similar mindset, because we all have clones out there, like, you know.
Doppelganger?
Yeah, the doppelganger.
Thank you.
But yeah, like, and that's community. Like, you know, post about agar, post about, you know, your experience that you had. No one wants to be sold anything anymore, right? They want to have especially as Americans, I feel like all of us, even if we aren't on that entrepreneurial pathway, we don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah.
We want to be offered the resources to do it ourselves. And I think like that's something that's amazing. I mean, that's what makes America America. It's like, you know, it's the land of the free and the home of the fuck
freedom.
you. Because no one's taking any crap. We all want to do it for ourselves.
Yes.
And I think it's great.
Yeah.
You
it's
know,
fun here.
It keeps us fresh.
Nice. Well, how can people get a hold of you? How can people find you? Plug a little bit. How people can get their daily bliss?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
TikTok, Instagram, YouTube.
You do it all.
LinkedIn, Linktree, Rumble.
Rumble?
Yeah. Yep. So Rumble is what I like to call the version of YouTube where there really isn't any guidelines.
Oh.
So Tucker Carlson's on there.
Okay.
I mean, that's a good one just because, like, you know, he says it like it is.
Cool.
Again, I don't deal with politics, but it's a great place to, like, truly put in your work, truly put in your passion, and not have to worry about asking ChatGPT to go through your video and is this going to abide by community guidelines and standards?
Oh, is that a advice that you would give to some people?
Heck yes.
Okay.
I utilize ChatGPT to write all my posts.
Okay.
But we are being used right now to train AI. And it's not like, it doesn't have anything to do with that sheep mentality or anything. From a business that's creating a really high level, you know, sophisticated, basically machine.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to do it. So make it free for the consumer.
Yep.
They're going to ask it questions. They're going to work with it to make posts, write blogs, do stories. What's this thing growing underneath my arm? You know, like
it's the new Google.
Yeah, it really is. But you still have to ask it. Well, you know, you have to be almost like a kid that's just learning something, right? So like you give them a task and then explain the task and why it's important to do this task. And that's how you have to do it. So yeah, when I make a post, it's okay, well, is this going to abide by Instagram terms, conditions, and community guidelines?
Wow.
Like I have it down that I'm just like, blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah,
right.
blah,
It's
blah,
like
blah.
a copy and paste situation where it's just like boom, bam.
But then, you know, I also use it to create prompts, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I can't just go out, like we have all these people coming up and talking to us, but I can't be like, hey, I run a mushroom company. Can I take your picture of you holding this bag of psychedelics and then post it to the internet?
Yeah, right.
No thanks. AI works great for that.
Interesting. Like, what are some loopholes? What are some little...
I think that it's something that is going to have to be watched, because if you are a good enough prompt creator, which a prompt is just what you use, you know, ChatGPT or whatever to basically create that end result, the end task of what you're trying to perform. So yeah, it's something that, like, you know, watch it. I definitely say invest in it, because it's not going away.
Yeah, no, it's just starting.
It's going to be like that episode of South Park, you know, they took our jobs, because it's already out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we are everywhere.
Cool.
Get Daily Bliss is on the way. We are currently building the website, designing images. It's coming out. Fullsendorganics.com. It is truly everything all in one place.
Yeah, because you were saying you can even search, and all of like education stuff is all on there too.
Yep.
If people want to learn something specific.
I'm taking my 20 plus years of management and customer service experience and putting it into this.
Love it.
So look, like if you get something off of us, like it's meant to have success.
Cool.
And the good thing about that is you can literally watch the viability, watch us make the bags.
Yeah.
And then that bag that we had in that video could end up being your bag.
Oh my gosh, it could be yours today.
So,
cool.
Everywhere.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for reaching out and wanting to do this. I'm glad I was in Florida, that I could just drive down here and meet you, and
it was awesome to do this multi-platform.
Dude, look at this. Look at this setup.
We're everywhere.
This is it. Have a great week, my scientists, and go learn something new today. Peaches, cut.